Hey guys, if you're here then I can assume that you share my lifelong love for LEGO. I've come to love this community, so I thought it'd be neat to share my experiences and a bit of the history of LEGO and how it all began through my own eyes. So let's take a journey through time, shall we? LEGO originated in Billund, Denmark in 1932 in the workshop of carpenter/toy maker Ole Kirk Christensen, who began his creation with the making of wooden toys. 2 years later, he named his budding company LEGO after the Danish phrase "legot", which translates to play well. In 1949, LEGO produced the precursor to the plastic bricks with studs that we've come to know and love today. In 1968, the first Legoland theme park opened in Billund. A year later, they started producing their Duplo line for younger audiences who may have had difficulty handling the smaller bricks. Now fast forward to 1978 and LEGO introduces the now beloved minifigure, which has been a main feature ever since. Over the next decade or so, LEGO would gain massive popularity around the world, and this is where I come in. My introduction to LEGO was somewhat bittersweet. See, I had an older relative who, by my standards at that young age, was what I considered rich. He had an entire room in his house dedicated to LEGO. I was mesmerized by these wondrous creations made of bricks. He had everything. He had the King's Castle, the Space Supply Station, Beta 1 Command Base, Galaxy Commander, the police station, the camouflaged outpost, just to name a few. The worst part, I'd go visit him occasionally and was often forbidden from touching any of the sets. So I'd have to endure his tour of the room where he'd show me any of his newly acquired sets. I absolutely hated it, but only because I too wanted LEGO badly. I'd then go home and I'd complain of not having any LEGO because I didn't yet understand that LEGO was then, as it is now, pricey by many standards. And then everything changed one magical Christmas, 1989. I had been particularly good that year. By my standards. I think my mother would vouch for the fact that I was pretty good that year. So I built up the nerve and I asked Santa for a sweet looking pirate ship I'd seen in recent commercials on TV. You know the one I'm talking about, the Black Seas Barracuda. Classic. Even back then, pirates were cool. So Christmas comes and I race to the tree. I see what was obviously a box, neatly wrapped. So in my mind, Santa's come. I dash to the box, I tear open the paper, and then I'm suddenly overwhelmed with joy. It is the Black Sea Barracuda. And in that moment, I can say I fell in love with LEGO. And that's probably a love that has persisted for over 30 years. I spent my entire Christmas building that set. It was awesome. Days later, much to my mother's dismay, I had disassembled the ship. I know at the time she probably thought I was crazy. I mean, why spend all of that time building the thing if you're just going to take it apart again, right? But for me, the building was part of the magic. I loved putting the set together. So I think I must have repeated that cycle at least 5 or 6 times over a span of a few months. Building the model, taking it apart, putting it back together. About a year or so later, I was fortunate enough to add to my collection. I was able to get the Caribbean Clipper and the Forbidden Island, and my imagination was in overdrive at that point. I spent hours most days simulating little sea battles between the Clipper and Redbeard with his motley crew of misfits. I loved those sets. The detail, the cloth sails, the monkey and shark figures, Redbeard with the peg leg and the hook, the chest full of little gold coins. It was like I was living out every young boy's fantasy of being a pirate.
You are without doubt the worst pirate I've ever heard of.
But you have heard of me.
And going on a whimsical adventure in search of buried treasure. I loved LEGO throughout the 90s, but for me personally, the real game changer came in 1999 when, in a stroke of corporate genius, LEGO joined forces with one of the biggest movie franchises in history, Star Wars. They released numerous sets that year to coincide with the movie release of Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. To say it was a hit is probably an understatement, and my my addiction was intact and complete. My favorite toy of all time was now producing products based on my favorite movie franchise of all time. I feel like from that point onward, Lego has been a part of the foundation that has shaped and influenced pop culture around the world. I mean, they have produced everything we associate with popular culture today, from DC and Marvel Universe, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Disney, Harry Potter, The Lord of the Rings, Jurassic Park, Mario, Minecraft, Ninjago, Avatar, and the list goes on. I mean, what hasn't Lego been involved with? My love for Lego continued over the years, but it wasn't until my son was born that I feel it went into full-on obsession mode. I'm not ashamed to say I could probably have bought a small cottage with what I've spent on Lego over the years. I oftentimes get asked when people would come and visit, "Wow, you have so much. How much money have you spent on Lego?" I dare not say. I can also say that my son's love of Lego probably rivals my own. In 2015, Lego introduced the Legodimensions series. We became fanatics instantly, overnight, collecting every single set and add-on Lego dished out. We'd spend hours powering up the PlayStation and watching those little minifigs come to life on the screen when you place them onto the mantle. They were a wonderful addition to any Lego fan, or even gaming enthusiasts, which I might add, I am as well. Some of the sets were from the most iconic movies and TV shows of my youth: The Simpsons, Back to the Future, Ghostbusters, Scooby-Doo, Gremlins, Sonic the Hedgehog, E.T., Goonies, Beetlejuice. I mean, if you're a kid of the 80s like I am, it was as if you had died and gone to heaven. I'd oftentimes feel as if Lego was making the sets more for me and my generation than for my son's generation, to be honest. I was very sad and disappointed, however, when Lego announced that they weren't continuing the series after 2017, because we absolutely loved collecting the sets and was looking forward to what new movie or TV characters we'd get to bring to life. But anyway, over the years, we have loved our time with Lego. A lot of father-son bonding. Most of our Christmases are spent seeing what cool new set Santa would deliver, and then spend the subsequent days assembling them. It's somewhat of a tradition. You come and visit my house during the holidays and you're sure to find us plopped on the floor, either playing with or assembling a set. I'm sure, as you can tell from the channel, it's not a stretch to say that we have an obsession with Lego. I think most friends and family would say that me and my son have an obsession with Lego. I think that's a fair assessment. My love for it has never waned. If anything, it's only grown stronger over the years. You know, I'm sure many of you can relate to this, but when you mention to someone your love of Lego, you at times get from who I consider the casuals. They would refer to it as just a toy for kids, but boy are they wrong. You know, for me it's been so much more. A toy, puzzle, construction blocks, craft, motor skills tool, art, hobby, collector's piece, you name it. And now with the huge success of the Lego movie that came out in 2014, the sequel, the Legobatman movie, which I might add was probably one of the funniest movies I've seen in years.
Probably have some dinner.
Alfred left your lobster thermidor in the fridge.
Oh, that's my favorite. I can't wait.
Numerous popular video game franchises like the recent Skywalker saga, theme parks opening up at various locations around the world. I mean, Dubai, Japan, all throughout the US. Lego is everywhere. It's no wonder that for almost a decade, Lego has been the biggest toy manufacturer in the world, and I'd say deservedly so. So that's it, guys. Thanks for joining me on my journey down memory lane, reminiscing and seeing where it all began. I apologize if I didn't mention some of the other key moments in LEGO history, but I realized when I was putting this together that I could probably spend well over 30 minutes talking about LEGO and its illustrious history and my love for it. So I felt I had to narrow it down to my own personal highlights. I hope that this perhaps may have reminded you of what sparked your love for LEGO and why it continues to today as mine does. So anyway, thanks again. Perhaps share your stories down in the comments below. I'm interested in sharing in your memories and love for LEGO and this awesome community of builders that we are. And until next time, keep building.